If you're a boxing fan and never want to miss a fight, Boxing Showtimes is the app you need. This is a professional boxing schedule in your pocket that keeps you up to date on what's going on in the world of boxing. Download now.
All right, we just had the press conference for the Day of Reckoning, which is the name of the card, December the 23rd, Saudi Arabia. Oh my God. That press conference, I wish I was there. Again, these are some of the reasons why I want to live in London or live in the UK full time, because I can attend these. I'm stuck in Dublin where there's not anything remotely like that. That press conference looked fun to be at. It's still quite weird seeing Hearn and Warren at the same press conference with Dev Sani asking the questions. You know, it had a real Queensbury meets match. Well, that's what it was. Queensbury meets Matchroom vibe. Yeah, I'm glad they got Dev Sani to do the questions, because I think with that, the way he comes across, he's good at doing the questions. He has that kind of, you know, how would you describe it? Kind of like, he's trolly, but he's good at it. He does it in a way that, you know, it just comes across as funny, whereas like other people, when they try and do that, they just come across as dead annoying, you know. So I thought the press conference as a whole was fun to watch. I'll talk more about it in a wee bit. But we'll talk about the fights that have been confirmed. And, like, you know, you read this here, right? And you're just like, what the hell is this? It's very good. There are some fights where I'm kind of looking and thinking, you know, I like seeing the fighter, but the guy he's in there with, it's like, really? But let's start. Arslanbek Makhmudov versus Ajay Kabayel. That's a decent fight. Kabayel is a spoiler. He is. He's been very inactive since that Chisora fight. He's been pretty much fighting once a year. And that was 6 years ago now. And, you know, Kabayel, solid European level, fringe world level. Makhmudov's going to beat the crap out of him, I believe. Then we have this one, which is a bit of a head scratcher. So Filip Hrgović versus Mark Demori. You may remember Mark Demori. He fought David Haye on David Haye's first comeback fight back in January 2016. Mark Demori somehow got ranked by the WBA going into that fight. I think his best result is a draw with Alex Leapai. I'm pretty sure he drew with him very early in both their respective careers. Alex Leapai was the guy Shannon Briggs called a pie when he fought Klitschko. That might be his best result, a draw with him. He's done absolutely nothing in his career. He's 41 years old now. He looked shook to bits against David Haye in there. He got knocked out in a round, and that was a wash to bits, David Haye. He's in there against Hrgović. Look, I get it. Hrgović is IBF mandatory. He doesn't want to risk that mandatory. I understand that. And he's not obligated to fight, you know, the best available contenders or something like that. But truth be told, I would look at Mark Demori and think, stick him in there with Moses Itauma. Or would Itauma be a bit past his level? That's genuinely where Mark Demori is. So that's going to be, listen, if Filip Hrgović is going rounds with Mark Demori, and God forbid losing them, then we need to ask serious questions about him. Frank Sanchez Jr. Fa, I think that could be one of the few fights that maybe fails to deliver. Yeah, Frank Sanchez is a good heavyweight, top heavyweight. Junior Fa, he's been knocked out in the round by Lucas Brown, but he went the distance with Parker. Not a big puncher. Let's see. If Sanchez turns up and really puts his authority on it, it ends pretty quick. Jay Opetaia versus Elizara. Crap fight, you know. I like Jay Opetaia, but Elizaro, this is a guy who went life and death not so long ago with Dex Spellman. Dex Spellman is an English level fighter, and Elizaro went life and death with him. He's going to go in there with Jay Opetaia. That's going to be every big as a demolition job as the Jordan Thompson fight was. But we like Jay Opetaia nonetheless. We like watching him. Bivol versus Lyndon Arthur. I'm a bit disappointed they didn't get Richard Rivera. For the simple reason is that Rivera gave a decent account of himself against Badu Jack. At cruiserweight, he'd be stepping down, so you would imagine he would be the bigger guy. Lyndon Arthur looked not particularly good in his last fight. He hasn't looked good for a while. And Bivol hasn't had a stoppage since he knocked out Sullivan Barrera in 2018, 5 years ago. I suspect he's going to get it this time. Daniel Dubois versus Jarrell Miller. Oh my God, Jarrell Miller went in on Daniel Dubois. Mentioned the fact that, I'm not going to mention the exact terminology he used, but basically he said once there's a bit of quitting you, it's always going to be there. His rendition was a lot more colourful, let's just say that. And I did find it funny. Dev Sani went to Daniel Dubois, you know, he said he's going to do this. What do you say? Looking forward to it. It's like, mate, really? Of all the things you could say, you say that. Daniel Dubois, Miller, Miller larger than life character. Obviously, as a human being, you know, I have my thoughts on what I think of him as a person. I don't hold him in very high regards, as many others don't. At the same time, I still like watching him fight. You know, it's a proper kind of conflicted kind of thing. As a person, I think he's a complete you-know-what. But I do enjoy watching him fight. And to be honest with you, if he turns up to this fight and he's clean and he's got even a fraction of what he had pre-2019, he should beat Daniel Dubois. I really think he'll take him into deep waters and drown him. I really do. Joe Parker versus Deontay Wilder, and obviously headlining. Well, they're the co-main events. Joe Parker versus Deontay Wilder, Otto Wallin versus Anthony Joshua. You know, Anthony Joshua, his whole demeanour changed when Jarrell Miller at that press conference turned his attention to Joshua. Because if you haven't seen it, Dev Sani basically asked Jarrell Miller about Wilder and Joshua. He said he doesn't like both of them, but he went specifically hard on Joshua. Joshua bit. And out of the two, Jarrell Miller, he's the louder character. He's the more abrasive character. He went to town on Joshua. Joshua tried to get a few, little shots in there. He said, I'll come over there and do this. But yeah, Jarrell Miller, out of the shouting match, Miller got the best. And Joshua, to me, after that exchange, just seemed different altogether. I don't know whether did he get flashbacks to, when they met back in MSG. Well, they didn't meet in MSG. I forget what that press conference was. But when Jarrell Miller shoved Joshua, did he get flashbacks to that night in MSG? Because obviously Jarrell Miller was essentially the catalyst for all that happening. By him not being able to fight him, I'm only speculating there, but his whole demeanour just changed. Even at the press conference when Dev asked him a question, straight away he said, "No, Eddie's asking me the questions." So it was just, maybe that was a troll. And I think Eddie Hearn did troll Frank Warren a little bit, where he was mentioning all the people who put this event on, and he just candidly says, "I'd like to also say a big thanks to George Warren." No mention of Frank. I did find that a bit on the funny side now, I have to say. I did find that, I did laugh when I heard that. I was like, oh, he mentioned George, but he doesn't mention Frank. That is the card in a nutshell, and honestly, it is a fantastic card. Warren was talking about more cards like this in the future. We should be expecting to get an announcement on Fury versus Usyk tomorrow. I mean, it's all happening in the world of boxing. December the 23rd, I finish up work that Friday for Christmas. I'm not back in until the new year. And, most years you finish up on Christmas, and especially when Christmas is cut over the weekend, it's nice. You expect to kind of it's a downtime, over the last 2-3 years. I've not done much over Christmas with the channel in terms of video, because it's not been much to talk about. It's going to be a hectic Christmas week. I'll be doing review of the week on Christmas Eve to go out on Christmas Day, because there will have been so much to talk about from the Saturday. It's going to be a crazy next couple of weeks with this card, with everything. And, I'm Frank Warren's been saying there's going to be more cards like this. I'm hoping he's true, because honestly, I never thought, I kind of went to the stage where I almost thought, unless it's Joshua versus Fury, we're never going to see Warren and Hearn at the same press conference. Neither of their fighters are fighting one another in terms of top fighters. Yeah, Opetaya is fighting Elizardo. I think that's the only Queensberry versus Matchroom fight on the card. The rest of it is all just, him, PBC, Dimitri Salida, Bob Arum. It's like, what? It's crazy. If we get more stuff like this, then, I'm all for it. Would I like to see Wilder Joshua headline? Of course. But you can't tell me this isn't the card that you're not going to watch. This is a great little card. Demori versus Hrgovic. Again, him and Arnold Jajai, who were David Hayes' two comeback opponents. That was 7 years ago, I think. Yeah, nearly 7 years ago. Long time. He's not going to have got any better since then. So I'm not expecting much in that scenario. But, yeah, blimey. What? I can't believe. I still can't believe this card's happening. And it was a seriously good press conference. I enjoyed it. Me and Outmatch are going to go live it's 7:45 now at the time of recording. So I might upload this before we go live, or I might upload it just after we go live. But yeah, that's my thoughts. If you're watching this before, me and Outmatch, we're going to have our talks on this. And I'm going to be interested to hear what he had to say. I'm sure he watched the press conference as well. So yeah. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Lads, with all this commotion, if we don't hit 15k by Christmas, there's something seriously up. That's what I will say. I'll leave it there. Peace.